Herald-Times sports editor Chris Korman here, joined by Dustin Dopirak. We are in, I think these are actually John Mellencamp's usual seats.
Are they really?
Yes. So we are there. Elaine Mellencamp, actually, from about the same area of the country as I am.
How about that?
Yeah. Rival high school, known for producing baseball players.
Wow.
And a supermodel.
How about that?
Who married a rock star. Anyway, we are over here because right along this path here, Tom Crean came storming through about midway through the second half, and then
apparently beat the living crap out of the locker room.
And then went after his locker room door.
Yeah.
He did not like it. He was not pleased.
No.
Tom Crean ejected tonight from Indiana's. What was the final score?
It was 78-46.
You can
and
see it.
From what we can tell, it's the worst loss in Assembly Hall history.
Yes, we're fairly certain of that. And Tom Crean's ejection, technically for arguing with officials, Jim Burr and Tim O'Neill.
Yeah.
May have said some naughty words. Maybe.
I'm going to go with likely.
Yes. But really, what he made clear in his post-game press conference, and I think was clear from...
Yeah, from the whole entire setup, really.
Right, was that it was really in response to a lack of something. Tenaciousness from his team.
Yeah.
Toughness. He came into the press room about 11:30, maybe a little bit earlier than that. I thought it was nice. He was talking to the people outside saying, these guys are on deadline. We've got to get in there.
I didn't hear that. That's nice. We
Thanks,
appreciate
Tom.
that. Thanks, Tom.
That's great. But saying, came in and said, look, this program's going to be eventually known for rebounding and tough defense and sharing the ball in offense, and we're not there yet. And it's going to be synonymous with toughness, aggression. I forget some of the other words.
Yeah.
He uses so many of those words.
You know what they were.
He's a basketball thesaurus.
Yeah.
So he is.
Yeah, he is. You're right.
So, this is sort of something that people have been waiting for. Indiana fans, certainly. The ones we interact with have been saying, we want to see some fire from Tom Crean. And that's a part, and another thing that he admitted, that's a part of this program.
Yeah.
That's something that these fans have been conditioned to look for in their head coach, and something that he knows he can't dodge. He's been, I wrote my column, Tom Crean has been very... he's known that he needs to be Tom Crean. You can't come in here and try to be Bob Knight. It just is not going to work for anybody. So he's been, from running the sort of offense he wants to run to some more modern things in the arena, the big head, stuff like that. His general persona, he knows he needs to be Tom Crean if he's going to be successful. But he does need to maybe make that, to pay homage to that one part of Indiana basketball because it's so essential.
Yeah. It is. It was interesting. There was so much that he said tonight without saying it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He did. I mean, that really his whole press conference was making a point without saying anything concrete. I mean, he
By the way, John Harbaugh's over there right now.
Yeah, he is. Showing off with their brother-in-law, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Ravens coach John Harbaugh in attendance tonight.
Yep. But also, he asked the question. I just asked what happened on the tech, and he just said, it's not really a lot I can say, but then just said, he said, Indiana is just, expects things a certain way, and I have to expect things a certain way. There's got to be a passion. They expect to see a passion, and he wasn't saying, these fans expect to see Bob Knight throwing chairs, but really, that's kind of what he was saying. And he wasn't saying I did this just to light a fire under my guys, but really that was kind of what he was saying the entire time. Was that this really didn't have a whole lot to do with what call was made and whether he thought it was right or wrong. Really, he was trying to make a point. He was trying to show some passion and some fire out there. Had really nothing to do with whether he thought that was a foul or wasn't. It was about making that point tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question, because it's another game. We had our Thursday morning discussion this morning, the usual talk, and people asked, what do you look for to write about this team? And because these last 8 games, now 9 games, it has been a pretty typical storyline.
Yeah.
There have been times where they fought, where they really rallied through, but this team, starting with the Iowa game, which clearly was, I think, a case of them
overlooking something.
Overlooking someone.
And Crean has kind of admitted that as it's gone along.
Right, and then they jump into the toughest stretch in the schedule, and they're just, I think, that's just 2 punches that this team isn't ready to handle.
Right.
Exactly. And so it's not so much surprising. It was a little disappointing that the Hoosiers seemed to lack fortitude at times. But really, a lot of this has been somewhat explainable. They're missing their best player. But really, just now there's just something had to give. Something had to happen with this team for it to take a step forward because it was just lost in these doldrums. And this Wisconsin team, a much better team this time than when they played Madison. And that team really controlled them in Madison.
It was pretty good at that point,
And then now having John Lure back just gives them that inside-outside threat that Indiana has no answer for. We can try to break down the game, but Indiana stuck with them for the first
12 minutes.
And then... Wow. What's his name? The guy.
Keaton Nankivell knocked down 2 threes at the top of the key.
Nankivell's about 6'10".
Believe it or not, he's not a bad shooter. He's 43, 43.5%.
Typical Wisconsin player.
He's one of those big dudes that gets that top of the key shot. He doesn't take any. He doesn't take him unless he has an open top of the key, and that's where he hits.
And he'll hit it.
He's one of those trail 3 guys.
And then that changes everything from there on out because Indiana's got to defend that out to the perimeter on the big guy. Opens up the lane.
Opens up everything. They can do whatever they want, and that's pretty much what they did. And Indiana panicked. Big time offensively. It was a real wreck from there offensively from that point on. A lot of forced shots, a lot of forced drives. They were just, trying to get it all back at once. And once it became a 10-point lead, they were just like, whoa, wait a minute. We were just in this game. How did this happen? And it just absolutely snowballed until the point where, Crean just said, okay, I'm just going to do something about this. Basically, this is going to be my way of showing we got to get something together here. And from talking to the couple of guys,
that's what I was wondering. How do you think they took to it?
Well, I mean, you never know how those work in the long term. I mean, there was that brief sort of spurt that you typically get in those cases. It wasn't withstood, I guess. I mean, they didn't continue that for any lengthy period of time. Now, will it make a point afterwards? I mean, obviously they went back and then saw him in the locker room after, and he made the point. Apparently told him that. That this is not going to continue. Basically, that you have to be guys that keep fighting. You can't take this loss as just another loss. This has got to be a team that fights. But I mean, this isn't the first time he's told them that. Derek Elston said that he's not going to have to make that point that way anymore. And Jeremiah Rivers said he admired him for it and said that it was just an outcry of his passion was the word Jeremiah Rivers used. And so does that last? Does that stick with him? I mean, that's a great question. I mean, a lot of points have been made to these guys. And it's tough to tell what sticks, what doesn't, and not only what they understand and what they hear, but what they can really put into practice. So, it's tough to tell how much of this is going to push them moving forward. But they at least appreciated it. Right.
And Tom Crean, I thought what was interesting in the post-game press conference was that he kept pushing the issue. He said, "I need to find guys who are going to play this way." I mean, it's an awkward thing. But Tom Crean is very much, I think, looking at his roster as being open. These guys, these last couple games, guys have got to earn their spots. I don't think it's partly because of the situation that this program is in, but also I think Tom Crean's mindset. It's a little bit more modern. I think he's going to make these guys earn it, and he has no problem in a postseason meeting saying, "You're not the type of player we need.
You don't belong here."
Right. And I think he was as frank as a coach can be about that in his post-game remarks. So, absolutely. From here, what do you think he needs to see? What do you think he wants to see from his players over this last stretch?
I mean, as he said a bunch of times, fight, defense, rebounding, all those sorts of things. And I don't know what level do they have to reach for it to be acceptable to him, I guess. I mean, because he's obviously going to play a couple teams that, as hard as they're going to fight, they're going to have a hard time beating, Purdue and even Northwestern, the way they played that the first time. I think he said it before this game, and I think it's even more true.
He really wants to see it.
He really expects to see them come out really hard against Iowa, because that's where this thing started. And as he's started to admit, it started because they overlooked that team. They were coming off of 2 wins, and they looked and they saw the one team that they were expected to finish ahead of. They were at home. It was a game they thought they should win. And look back, and he says he thinks they overlooked them. He has made it clear that he absolutely does, expects to see a lot of fight in that game. And you rarely hear a coach talk about a game.
A specific game.
Single out a game that's not the next one.
Ahead,
And he did. At his radio show, he made that point to everyone. I expect to see a lot of fight in this game, and he does. This team, it better come out.
All right, I'm going to kick you out of the video now for going too long as usual.
We had 25
more
seconds.
That way. Go, leave. Yeah. I would have stopped at the Moe's over there. There's like a little hidden Moe's. Maybe got a burrito and then body checked the door. I don't know. Dustin's gone. I better go find him. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you in Iowa City. Take care.